It's the Prep Zone Holiday Special. Here is your host, Chris Egan.
Good evening and welcome to our 5th annual Prep Zone Holiday Special. We've picked out 7 of our favorite stories we did in 2021, looking at some special student athletes. In the world of sports, we've heard many athletes say they play with a chip on their shoulder. This is the story of an Interlake football player who has used that chip to fuel his fire.
6, 7, 8.
Interlake sophomore Zach McClain is one of the hardest working athletes his strength coach DeAnthony Smith has ever worked with. Smith is a former NFL nose tackle and 3rd-round draft pick. He says he's been re-inspired by his 16-year-old kid.
Man, we all have our motivation in this lifestyle, man. And, he told me a little bit about his story, how things went for him. He knows, hey, he's not going to happen to him again.
From kindergarten through junior high, Zach had to put up with a lot.
I had always been bullied as a kid just because of my eyes. It was every other day, whether that was getting beaten up or just adults to kids my age making comments. It was something every day.
I think the main thing is we didn't know what was going on as long as it was going on. It wasn't till he left junior high that it was right after he graduated from 8th grade that he just unloaded all of this one night.
Zach was born with a rare defect in his eyes. He has marks on his retinas, which obstructs his vision.
I can see shapes and colors, and the best way I could describe it is I just don't see detail.
Zach is legally blind, but his parents didn't want that to be his entire story.
Really, as soon as we found out or figured it out, we said, it's not going to impede him. We're not going to let it affect him. So we put him in sports and tried to give him everything to succeed.
Zach tried it all: soccer, baseball, even MMA. But it was football here at Interlake that he fell in love with.
Football very much became that outlet where I could go.
And he wants it. He's angry for it.
He's very hungry and very determined.
Zach plays defensive line for Interlake. During the pandemic, he put on 50 pounds of muscle and is now 6'2" and 215 pounds. He may not have the best vision, but he still finds a way to dominate on the field.
First things first, he has to beat the man in front of him. That's what we teach here. He puts his hands on him. He controls that blocker. He knows where that guy is going. He knows where the ball's at.
There were a lot of people who didn't think I could play, and there's been a lot of questions being asked about how I can play. I think it doesn't play as big of a factor as some people believe it does. I don't think it plays a factor at all.
Picked on, beaten up, dismissed. Moments that magnified Zach's tenacity.
When somebody tells him that he can't do it, it makes him work that much harder, and it pisses him off.
For a long time, it hurt and I couldn't let it go, but I think just now it's more sticks and stones, and it definitely, I feel does fuel a fire.
He's a great inspiration for people.
Right now, there's no surgery that can improve Zach's vision. But then again, his sights seem pretty set. He's up every day at 6 a.m. lifting and running, and spends 5 to 6 days a week with DeAnthony trying to become the best D lineman in the country.
I want to take it as far as I can go. I don't want to just stop at college. I want to go pro and be the best player that I can be.
Interlake advanced to the playoffs this season. Saints head coach Dante Foster called Zach one of the team's best pass rushers. The Sumner girls basketball team finished 15-1 last season, winning its first league title since 1996. One of the Spartans' big stars was just happy to be healthy enough to play. Sumner High junior Allison Deaver loves to play the piano, but it's not her only hobby.
At first, I just started one day and I picked up a pencil because I was bored in my room, and I was like, I'm just gonna draw something. And I looked on Pinterest and I found a picture and I tried to copy it, and I was like, I really like this. I find it pretty relaxing and it's a nice break from school.
Over the past couple of years, Allison has had some extra time to focus on her art and music. But she also has another love: Allison Deaver! Basketball.
I've been playing with pretty much the same group of girls on my high school varsity team that I've been playing with since 4th grade. So it's kind of been our dream to play on varsity together and be on the court together.
Allison and her twin sister Caitlin came into Sumner as two of the top-ranked freshmen in the SPSL.
The two of them, when they come on the court together, they really mesh. The cool thing is they bring out the best in each other.
But in the 9th grade, their dreams of playing together in high school ended when Allison injured her knee during a summer league game.
My knee kind of twisted and it popped. Yeah, that was definitely, like, when she did it, it was a really scary moment.
Allison tore her ACL, and her left knee would need surgery.
At the time, it kind of felt like my entire identity was just wrapped up in the sport, and like everyone knew me as a basketball player, and that's kind of just who I was. So when I got hurt, it kind of felt like I lost who I was. So I got kind of like depressed, I'd say, after that for a while.
Forced to the sidelines, Allison would fight depression through rehab, art, and music. 1 year later, she was healthy and ready to go for her sophomore season, but then the unthinkable.
I got hurt at a tryout. I retore the same ACL, my left ACL, and which was it was awful because everyone told me that it was going to be stronger than it ever was, and that it would never happen again.
Her sophomore season was lost as well.
I can't imagine what she might have been going through mentally at home, going through those nights where you don't know if you're going to ever play again.
After a second surgery and more rehab, Allison would be healthy and ready to go for her junior season here at Sumner.
It's honestly like the most rewarding feeling. I'm just so blessed to have like the support system that I have. You know, it's so nice like finally being able to play with her and see what she can do because we haven't been able to see that in 2 years that she's been out.
Allison is currently averaging over 20 points and 11 rebounds a game. And while she still dreams of playing Division I, she does have a new perspective on life.
So it's just so nice to have just a well-balanced life in general and make sure that I know that I'm more than just a basketball player.
Allison and her sister, both seniors, will take one more shot at the state title this season. The return of high school sports earlier this year was not only important for athletes, it was also vital for others like Puyallup's Tanner Pierce, whose calling could be in the broadcast booth.
Got lots of D1 talent on the baseball field tonight.
The Puyallup Vikings have one of the best baseball programs in the state. They've won 13 straight league titles, 2 state championships, and this season they finished the year 16-0, ranked 25th in the nation.
I mean, after not playing for a full year, and you know, we've just kind of taken an approach that every day is a state championship day.
That's going to be hit right back up the middle, and that's going to be a base knock on the first pitch.
This year's Vikings team featured 5 seniors on the field and 1 in the booth.
There. Counts 1 and 2 with 2 outs.
I always was fond of being behind a microphone whenever I got the opportunity, and being able to do that. I'm a big sports fan.
Tanner made his broadcasting debut in the 7th grade. When the Vikings' regular public address announcer didn't show one night, head coach Mark Weiss asked his assistant coach Dean Pierce if his son could fill in.
We go, Tanner, you're going to be the voice of the Vikes today. I mean, shoot, he's going to be the biggest thing that's come out of Puyallup here in about 10 years. It's going to be the next Dave Niehaus.
The relay will not be in time. Dante Grant, a triple.
As an 8th grader, Tanner started up the Tanner Pierce Broadcast Network.
He's going to flip it to Drake Anderson at short. The easy 4-6 ground out. It's going to be out number 3 in the second.
Tanner started broadcasting games on YouTube for the Seattle Studs, the Tacoma Community College baseball team, and the Vikings.
It's been pretty special to watch these teams, and just every time I get behind that mic, something comes up,
And that ball lined into left center field.
The energy gets flowing, and it feels right, it feels good, and I enjoy it.
On game nights, Tanner's a one-man band, streaming, play-by-play, stats, the PA, and the music. His work doesn't go unnoticed.
That ball hit into right center field.
Whether that's on a home run call, a double play, a diving catch, anything like that, is to be able to bring the energy and make those people who are watching online feel like they're here watching it.
I'll watch this game tonight live, and then I'll go back and watch Tanner's broadcast just so I can listen to him talk.
Phil Cresswell's son Will is the starting catcher for the Vikes. Phil is from England and still has family living across the pond.
So it's super cool to know that there's people all over the globe watching me.
Halstead's going to line that into right center field. Garrett Ringer is going to round 2.
Tanner loves doing play-by-play, but his broadcast dreams may also include King 5 in the future.
So next year I'm headed down to Chapman University in Orange, California, getting my degree in broadcast journalism, hoping to take your job one day.
Once again, thanks for tuning in. I'm Tanner Pierce. I'll see you back here tomorrow night.
Tanner spent his freshman fall at Chapman University doing play-by-play for the football team. Coming up, from ashes to the end zone. Rescued from a Haitian orphanage, Squalicum's Javinski Schlenbacher becomes one of the best running backs in the state. And rhythmic gymnast Lennox Hopkins-Wilkins sets her sights on Paris and competing for the U.S. in the next Olympics. Her story is next. Earlier this year, the 5 football team did some holiday giving during the spring. The seniors honored night custodian Nate Woodward. After presenting Nate with some Trojan swag, the team got together to give Woodward a night off. The team cleaned the entire school. Javinski Schlenbacher is one of the best high school running backs in the state, and he'll play college football at Wazoo. But that's nowhere near the most interesting thing about him. At Squalicum High, football fans have had plenty to cheer about.
Let's go, baby, let's go.
Over the past 4 years, the Storm have been one of the top teams in the league, with Javinski Schlenbacher leading the charge. As a sophomore, he rushed for over 2,000 yards. Now a senior, and Javinski, or Ben, as his friends call him, is once again running away from the pack.
Because I was a running back since Pee Wee football, even flag football. Like, that's what I've always done, and it's been my favorite position since then.
Good job, boys. Great job, boys. Great job, O-line.
But football wasn't Javinski's first sport. He grew up in Haiti and spent his early childhood playing soccer. Javinski loved the game, but he didn't love growing up in an orphanage. He and his sister Jenica were placed there after their father passed away.
Back in Haiti, it was like different lifestyle. We were trying to scavenger for food and stuff, so like that's harder to grow up in.
But Ben's fortunes would change when he met Kendra Schlenbacher from Bellingham.
I met Ben and was gravitated towards him because he was the littlest one there. The second trip I went down, he was the length of a football field away from me, and I kind of looked down and I was like, is that Ben down there? And he heard his name and he just came trucking the length of the football field, and we were pretty much inseparable that whole mission trip.
During a third trip, Kendra and husband Brett decided they wanted to adopt Ben and his sister. The adoption process can take time, but in 2010, the Schlenbachers couldn't wait any longer.
You have that not sure feeling that he's going to come and be able to be here.
On January 12, 2010, a magnitude 7.0 earthquake struck Haiti. Over 100,000 were killed.
I was young, so I don't remember everything that happened.
We found out about the earthquake, found out that our children were alive 24 hours later, because the earthquake hit right where the orphanage is.
A week later, Brett boarded a plane on a true rescue mission trip to Haiti. A few days after that, Brett and the kids were safely back home in Western Washington. They were now a world away from their Haitian homeland, but it wouldn't take long to form a bond with their new family. Jenica took to dancing, while Javinski excelled at soccer and football.
He arrived in Bellingham, and the minute his feet hit the ground, it was kind of like, I'm home, here I am. And he's just been running from the minute he got here. He tells it now as he's older, I was handed this opportunity, and I want to see how far I can take that opportunity.
Being on the football field, it just feels like home, and just like my heart starts racing, and it's like another love in my life.
On the field, his speed and moves are unmatched. His story from the ashes to the end zone is remarkable, but Javinski is just getting started. After he sings his final fight song with the Storm, he'll be heading to Pullman to do it with the Cougars.
It's fun to watch his dream come true. Like, he knew we couldn't afford college. We have 4 kids. There was no way we could afford a D1 level college for each kid. And he knew that from a long time ago, from elementary school. And so he told me, I'm gonna play college football.
That was pretty cool to me, just like realizing that I was good enough to play.
Ben had a dream and ran with it.
Go Cougs.
Javinski started learning English by watching the movie The Blind Side, the story of an adopted boy who went on to play football in college and the NFL. Since 1984, Russia has dominated the sport of rhythmic gymnastics, winning 10 gold medals. The U.S. has never medaled in the event, but that could soon change. And a young lady from Puyallup may have something to say about that. 17-year-old Lennox Hopkins-Wilkins from Puyallup is one of the best rhythmic gymnasts in the country. She's graceful, powerful, and almost looks like she's flying through the air as she performs her routines.
Rhythmic gymnastics is a combination of apparatus and difficulty, along with flexibility and strength.
Inspired by her older sister, who's now a dancer for Cirque du Soleil, Lennox started competitive dancing at the age of 2. But after a battle with stage fright, her mom decided Lennox needed a change. So she signed her up for rhythmic gymnastics.
She told me that she wanted to kind of still find something where you can be like artistic and have that dance aspect to it.
After turning 7, Lennox came to Evergreen Rhythmics and met coach Olga Nikolita, who was once a gymnast in Russia.
With the master over here.
When Lennox came, I could tell she was already a little firecracker, and she enjoys performance.
In rhythmic gymnastics, there are 4 different apparatuses, including a hoop, ball, clubs, and ribbons. Athletes get 90 seconds to perform with each, and they take the best all-around score.
That's better, yes. And this scoring system is divided in rhythmic gymnastics. They will score you on the artistic component, which is musicality and expression. They will score you on the difficulty level. That will include your body skills and apparatus skills, and also technical performance.
Since 2017, Lennox has done quite well competing in national and international meets.
You have to be so versatile in everything because you have to be strong, but you have to be like limber and flexible at the same time, and you have to show, you have to dance, but you have to, be so focused at the same time on whatever you're handling.
In 2021, Lennox helped the U.S. win a bronze medal at the Pan American Games and finished 3rd at Nationals, which helped her seal up her selection to be named as an alternate for the U.S. Olympic team.
And when they were announcing the team and they called her name, I was watching and tearing up.
It's just so amazing to be named to the Olympic team still, because you can carry that with you for the rest of your life.
We hope to see Lennox in Paris at the 2024 Summer Games. Coming up in our final segment, Graham Allison running back Jalen Davenport overcomes tragedy to find peace on the field. And a coaching icon calls it a career after 43 years of giving back to Olympia High. A salute to a legend. Next on the Prep Zone Holiday Special. The Graham Allison Eagles won the 4A state title this fall with junior Jalen Davenport in the backfield. But let's go back to the spring season back in March. That's where Jalen persevered through the hardest of times and found peace by playing football. For high school athletes across the state, it's been a tough year because of the pandemic. For months, fields remained empty, the bleachers bare. Now, games are back and fans are returning. Parents are once again able to watch their kids in person. Graham Allison running back Jalen Davenport says there's nothing better than hearing mom screaming from the stands.
I always hear. That's the first thing I always hear. The second I touch the ball, that's all I hear. So,
what is she yelling to you?
That's my baby.
Jalen's mom is his #1 fan, but it was dad that got him into football.
All he really cared about was getting us kids out of off the streets and having fun while we were playing football.
Jalen's parents were his inspiration, but in 2019, just 2 days before Mother's Day, his mom, Latrivia, passed away after a lengthy battle with cancer.
I remember going to school that morning, and the last thing I said was, "Mom, I love you, I'll see you when I get home." And, it was literally towards the end of the day at school, get a phone call saying you gotta come home. So I come home, and that was the last thing I remember saying to my mom, seeing my mom, and it was a very hard day for me, honestly.
The loss was devastating, and last November, it got worse.
And I came home and I was like, "Dad, are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. He just kept pushing it off, and You know, I was like, Dad, you're not okay. Like, something's wrong and you're not telling me. And eventually got to the point where it was so bad, he had to go to the hospital.
Jalen's dad, John, spent over a month here at Good Samaritan Hospital in Puyallup. He was battling COVID. His 4 kids had faith that their dad would make it through.
He's going to get out of this. He's strong. He's a fighter. He's going to win. He's going to beat this. And it was on his birthday, actually, the day he passed. We got it arranged to where we could go up there and see him. And right as we're getting in the elevator to go up there to see him, that was when he took his final breath.
In just 2 years, Jalen had lost his mom and his dad. They were his cheerleaders, his best friends, and his inspiration. And it's because of them, Jalen never once thought about quitting football.
Just making them proud, honestly. Like, I told them I was going to do big things, and I got to prove it for them.
He's handled it as well as anybody can handle it. You could quit and be done as a kid. I don't see him as a quitter. I see him as a kid that's going to push himself to try to get better.
Jalen now lives with his sister and has family close by, but it's the GK brotherhood that's helped him find peace again.
Being on the field with them, it's the greatest feeling in the world, literally. Like, I don't feel any pain. Like, we all look after each other. We all get after it. We're all dogs, so it feels really good, honestly.
He's playing the sport he loves for the people he loved even more. And while mom and dad are no longer up in the stands, they are in his heart. And yes, Jalen still hears them as he rumbles down the field.
That's my baby.
Jalen finished the season with 656 rushing yards and 13 touchdowns. He was also a big part of the Eagles' defense. One of the winningest high school coaches in Washington State history has decided to retire after 43 years. We wrap up the show with a tribute to Olympia High volleyball coach Lori Creighton.
Wipe it off the hands on the noodle. Okay, here we go.
Lori Creighton's practices are run like clockwork.
Higher contact point.
They're precise, there's purpose, a plan, and Coach Creighton never seems to stop.
Hey, so what do we say? Who can repeat to me what we're doing? That's part of my personality. That's definitely my nature. I'm a detail-oriented person. Getting our feet to the ball and being in the right spot. Can't see doing it any other way.
Creighton has been doing it this way since she first started coaching in 1978.
I love athletics. I love sports, but the opportunity to work with kids and help them become better versions of themselves.
She started her coaching career at Washington Middle School, and then a year later, she was hired at Olympia High.
Hey, we're going deep.
Creighton's #1 goal has always been to empower women. She wants her players to demonstrate coachability, character, and commitment.
Are you feeling pressure?
She credits her teachers and coaches from Issaquah High as her inspiration.
Having lost my mom and my grandmother as a 9th grader, and the impact, the positive impact that the women who were my teachers and coaches, that impact that they had on me. I just saw the value in that, and knowing that there's other kids who have similar stories and maybe not exactly like mine, but that can use a positive female role model in their life. And so that's driven some of it for sure.
Creighton's drive, along with preparation and passion, would equal success. She won her first state title in 1998 and a second one in 2011. But for Creighton, it's never been about the wins.
To me, it's about helping prepare kids for life and building character, teaching life lessons along the way, and building great team relationships.
COVID cost Creighton the 2020 season.
Shorter, lower.
But when the kids came back, she had a full appreciation for what she's been preaching and teaching for decades.
Just the masks, we're wearing masks, right? We're doing our thing and doing volleyball, but to see the light in their eyes.
1, 3, 1, 2, 3. First.
Woo!
She's provided a light for many, and that's why the school honored Creighton by naming the Olympia High Court after her.
Totally blown away by all that.
Her Bears are still winning, but Creighton says the time to retire is now.
For me, the amount of energy required to do the whole package, I just didn't feel the energy was going to last as long as maybe I would want to last with any particular group of kids.
Dedication and hard work led Creighton to 879 career wins.
I can't get my head around that. I can't.
But
that's too much.
There's another number. In 43 years of coaching, Lori Creighton has helped change the lives of over 2,000 young women.
Yeah. That's that's hard to think about. It's been a pretty good ride.
And that'll do it for another year of Prep Zone. Some special kids and coaches there. I'm Chris Egan. Have a safe and happy holiday season.